Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. With me today, as per usual, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, who's also the host of Artie's talk show, Crosstalk. And today, we're looking ahead, not to the 2020 election in November, but to the 2024 election and to the prospect of a Tucker Carlson candidacy. Now, Tucker Carlson is now a major cable news star. His show is consistently number one on cable. He's beaten all records, and he's somebody who, on paper, looks a very good bet. He's photogenic. He's a very good communicator. He's extremely intelligent, very articulate. He's thought about the issues. He doesn't have a long track record of running for elective office, but apparently that no longer matters. Neither did Trump. So, does Tucker in 2024 stand a chance, Peter?
A lot of people would like him to be able to stand a chance. That's for sure. I mean, his notoriety and visibility is undeniable, as you pointed out. I mean, he has broken all records on cable TV as a program host, and his numbers are growing. I mean, it's not does he have a certain demographic. I mean, he's expanding it. So, and good for him. I'm a big fan. The possibilities of him doing it, I think rather the answer is no, for a number of reasons. First of all, why would you give up a wonderful gig? Okay, I mean, politics is one big headache. Number two, he's not. He does not side with and actually criticizes quite often and very ferociously the libertarian element of the Republican Party. And his problems don't stop there, George. He is a non-interventionist also. So he doesn't want to have anything to do with a party that would allow John Bolton or Lindsey Graham. We have to point out that I remember what was during the Kavanaugh hearings, and Lindsey was on, maybe one of the last times, and he said a better version of Lindsey Graham. I don't know if you remember that, because these two guys just Tucker and Lindsey Graham, they just disagree on so much. But when it came to the Kavanaugh hearings, they were in lockstep. But I think what's important about thinking about Tucker Carlson as a candidate in 2024, the good thing is that it's telling the Republican Party what you have to change, what you need to do. Because here, I mean, come on, we're way, way out. But I think you would agree with me, and I think a lot of our viewers would agree with me, that people that are conservative, people that are in a lot of Republicans would think very highly and very positively at a Tucker Carlson candidacy. I mean, we get to see him 5 nights a week, okay? I mean, he's very authentic. And unlike any other cable news host of a program like that, it's 50-50 down the line. He brings on people that agrees with him and people that disagree with him. Nobody else has that much courage, okay? And I think the viewers respect that.
Right, no, I agree with that. But let's just think about who would he be up against? Because obviously he will have ferocious challengers. We can name a few. I think Tom Cotton will almost certainly run. Now, Cotton is an interesting mixture because he's a neocon and a foreign policy hawk, ferociously pro-Israel. So obviously he'd be very much opposed to Tucker's foreign policy there. But on other things, such as on nationalism, immigration, he would be a kind of a Trumpian and he would be in agreement with Tucker Carlson. So that's one possibility.
Ted Cruz.
Sorry, who did you say?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, yes. Again, Cruz, hawk on foreign policy, but again has adopted some of the nationalist Trumpian agenda. Rand Paul would probably be in agreement with Tucker on most things.
I don't think the donor class would be for it. I just, and with his libertarian streak, I did say, he's not a pay-to-play guy, okay?
Right.
Again, I mean, I have no affinity with the libertarian agenda. However, a lot of Republicans do, and it would be a very interesting choice. What would be interesting is in a Republican primary is to have a Rand Paul and let's throw Tucker up to have that kind of conversation. And I think it would be a real conversation about the role of government in people's lives. And it would be so refreshing for Republicans to talk about that because they almost never do, and they always let that lane be controlled by the left. It's time for conservatives to talk about what we think government's role should be, and I'm not talking about the libertarian agenda, which is shut down government, which is it's not in play anymore. Okay.
Right. No, I think that's right. So now, clearly, Tucker would have certain disadvantages. I mean, he's obviously he's a television personality, and as opposed to these serious figures. Because yes, that's what's true about Trump, but Trump did at least have a record of considerable accomplishments. He could say, "Look, I've been a successful businessman. I had a successful TV show. I've done this, that, and the other." Which I think may be a little bit more than Tucker offers. Having said that, Tucker is a very, very articulate person, and he talks in a fresh, direct way that the politicians are unable to. They just they just talk in these canned slogans, which I think is, and that's true even of somebody like Rand Paul. They've got their talking points and they just keep repeating their talking points. And Tucker doesn't talk like that. So it's going to be an interesting contest.
But I think also, I mean, Tucker's been around politics all his life, and unlike a lot of people that have changed in their life, he's always been a conservative, and his father was around politics as well. So he is in a way not an insider, but certainly a witness to the inside, and I think that would be something that would be to his advantage here. I mean, his biggest advantage is that he's very articulate, and he presents this. You get what you see, okay, which I think is a really big plus. Because look at Kamala Harris. I mean, what am I seeing and what is it? Okay, I mean, you just can't define, okay, and I think someone and plus Tucker is a person that of very strong passions, is open to dialogue. That's unique among politicians right now, okay? And I think that would be to his advantage. The thing is that if you have a well-paying gig, you're 50 years old, I mean, you're on a trajectory, unbelievable trajectory. How many people want to trade that away? Because Tucker is probably very wealthy now. He's not a billionaire.
Right. No, I take that point. On the other hand, if he runs, and even if he's unsuccessful, he could come back. Pat Buchanan ran and he got his old gig back on CNN. And though he was a much more controversial figure than I think Tucker Carlson would be. So I don't think he would be poor after even an unsuccessful presidential run. So I think that he's certainly a very interesting candidate. I think that, and I would have thought that, if you've done all this, you've done journalism, you've been on television, and you kind of, been there, done that. You kind of want to move on to the next stage. I am sure that once people come to him and say, "Hey, I think you've got a real chance at running and winning an election," most people are going to be tempted by that. Hey, why don't I give it a shot?
Okay, I can hear that. I understand that here, and I have to accept from what I see from him almost Monday through Friday, he's very passionate about the country, and his book Ship of Fools, which is brilliant. It's a political tract. I mean, I think it's a brilliant book. He understands what ails the country, and I think that he would have it in him to seriously give it a thought. The thing is that I think what he'd have to consider, even if he wanted to do it, would he have the support of the party? Okay, because what we saw in 2016 on the primary during the primary debates, I mean, Trump was knocking them down like he was playing, he was bowling them down one pin after another. Could Tucker do something like that? It doesn't seem to be in his nature, but he doesn't suffer fools. That's one thing he has in common with Trump. He doesn't suffer fools around him.
Right, but that's a very good point. He may not have the sheer nastiness and belligerence that you actually need to win a ferocious. Well, these professional politicians, they're going to get mean, and they're going to go after him. They're going to dig up whatever there is to dig up. I have no idea if there's anything to dig up, but they will do it. And you kind of wonder whether he has that kind of viciousness that Trump had, which he was enabled him to defeat all his opponents. He may have, but I don't know. I mean, it's not something he's used to. Trump is a New Yorker. He's lived in that world of New York real estate where you have to be a street fighter.
Yeah, but the one thing Tucker has over any of them that I can think of, he's smart. Okay.
Yes, he is.
And that's one of the reasons why I have a lot of admiration for him, is that I have no idea how much he writes his monologues on his own. Does someone give him a template and he works it, or does he work it himself? We really don't know this. Very few actually do that in television, but my gut tells me he does. And Sean Hannity, because he's just a psychopath. Okay,
right.
You and I have commented on this. Is that Hannity has one monologue and he just adds that extra onion layer. I mean, I think I could do his monologue now with my eyes closed.
Right. But remember, with Hannity, it's whoever is the Republican. He extols that. Well, I mean, he was talking in exactly the same way about George W. Bush. I mean, now it's Trump, but it was the same with Bush. I mean, there's nothing changes. You just cross out whoever is the GOP man and fill in the blank. So,
well, all right. But I think that the very thought of a Tucker candidacy should give us hope that the Republicans need to seriously rethink where they're going, because their politics now is doomed to the dustbin of history, in my opinion. It's not working. Not that I have any agreement with what's going on the left. Okay, Tucker might save the day. Who knows?
I quite agree with you. I think that any kind of a Republican return to Jeb Bush, or Chris Christie, or any of these others, as embodied by Nikki Haley, is a non-starter. It's just that train has left the station. Whatever else Trump has accomplished, he has accomplished that. So that's a very good discussion. And if you like more of these discussions, then watch the Gaggle. And remember, if you like it, share, and subscribe. See you soon.